Hey guys, Dr. Anthony Davis at the Davis Medical Group and Body Goal MD in East Texas. This is video number 3 of our weight loss journey. This one's going to be a little bit mathematical because I want you to figure out how much food you're supposed to be eating, and we have to break that down into macros, fat, carbs, and protein. So macro math this is. Now, do me a huge favor, if you like this video or this video series, please give me a thumbs up down there. Also click subscribe right down there. It would really help me out a lot. It helps to grow this channel, and this channel is important to me. And I think it'll be important to you as you look at all the different videos we have on there. It's an adjunct of our clinic. And so as we're going through the clinic day and I'm explaining things, I need a repository of knowledge for people to go to and watch and get a lot more slow processing and knowledge base. All right, subscribe, like, and share. Thank you. Okay, so what do I mean by macro math? First, let's talk about macros. Macro means big. Macro is the main 3 foods that everything's made out of: protein, carbs, and fat. Now, in the grand scheme of things, and bear with me as I say this, proteins, fats, and carbs are all sugars. Your body will process and turn all those things into sugar, and that's the whole point. You don't want to be eating straight sugar if you're trying to lose weight. You want to be eating protein and let your body slowly turn that into sugar and use the protein building blocks. And you want to be eating fat, which is actually just stored sugar. So fat is a mega storage of sugar. It's concentrated sugar into a stored molecule. And so your body uses that and slowly burns that into fat. So it all gives you energy. It's all a source of sugar because that's what your body runs on. We want to give your body unprocessed foods so that it changes it into sugar slowly and then maintains your blood sugar in a nice steady state. So macro math. All right, fundamentals of weight loss. You have to take in less food than you need, and then your body will borrow food from your stored calories, and you'll get smaller, you'll lose weight, and you'll get ideally healthier if you lose the right weight. You can lose either fat or muscle, so you want to lose fat. And so it's important to understand the balance of macros plays a key component to this. I mean, you could eat 1,500 calories of butter, you could eat 1,500 calories of cotton candy, you could eat 1,500 calories of whatever. So we want to really balance this out just right to get the right macro balance so that you can lose weight. So there's a couple things you need to know. You need to know how many calories should you be eating on a weight loss diet. And so that's a little bit tricky. So let's make it really simple. In general, a smaller person, let's say under 170 pounds, who wants to lose weight, needs 1,200 calories a day. A larger person, let's say above 170 or over 200, needs 1,500 calories a day. Now, it can be up or down a little bit depending on your personal needs. So we're going to make the bottom range 12 to 1,500 and the top range 1,500 to 1,800. And so it just depends on what you're trying to do or how much energy you're left with once you've had your budget of calories. So first, we're going to pick a number. Let's say it's either 1,200 or 1,500. Okay, for the sake of the math, we're going to go with 1,200 calories, and that's going to help us. Now, you need more calories than that. That's the whole point of a calorie deficit. You got to have less calories coming in than you need because, trust me, you have stored so many calories on your body, it's time to start using them. So how do you get your body to start using them? A, you keep your insulin down. You have to keep your insulin down. And B, you have to eat less food than you need. So if you're eating 1,200 calories, that is nowhere near what your body needs. Or if you're eating the higher amount, the 1,500 calories, that's nowhere near what your body needs. That's the point. Can't lose weight unless you stop eating so much. You stop eating so much and give your body the right triggers and you'll lose weight. That's the whole point of this. You're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to not pig out all the time. You're going to have to not eat every single time you're hungry. Hunger is a wave. It's a 20-minute wave. Just ride it. And next thing you know, 21 minutes later, you're not hungry anymore. All right? Drink some water. Wait. Do something for 20 minutes and you won't be hungry anymore. All right, so 1,200 calories. I believe personally, and this is what's worked for me, that the most important macro for weight loss is protein. Protein is how you lose weight. There was a very good show on TV recently, and you should watch it, called Alone. It's a series of survivalists. It's a series with survivalists. They take these serious survivalists and they take them out to the wilderness and they put them out there and they just take 10 of them and they throw them out there with nothing. And the person who's out there the longest wins. All right, well, real quickly, one of the guys with just a basic bow and arrow kills a moose. He kills a moose. Well, that guy should win, right? He's eating moose every day. He's eating meat all day long. He's eating tons of calories. He's got plenty of food. That's all he does is eat moose. But he loses weight so fast they almost have to pull him out of the game. He eventually, well, I don't want to tell you spoilers, but anyway, they almost have to pull him out of the game because he's eating nothing but protein. There's no fats to help his body protect his muscle mass and his fat stores. So he burns right through his fat stores. Why? Because your body needs it. Your body needs fat and protein. But you got to get adequate protein, just like he got, to lose weight. He got very lean, eating nothing but pure protein. Very lean. Now, we're not going to be doing it as dramatically as him, but that's the point. So how much protein should you get? On the low side, on the regular side, it should be 0.75 times your perfect weight. Now, don't panic when I say perfect weight. Or it could be up to 1 times your perfect weight, depending on how much muscle mass you're trying to preserve. I don't care. It's the same difference to me. So let's do 0.75. So what is your perfect weight? There's no, in my opinion, there's no mathematical calculation for your perfect weight. You tell me. I know what my perfect weight is. I know at that weight, which I would want to be, and that I know I feel my best at. So you pick your weight. You just pick a weight. So I just picked 130 just for math. So 130 pounds is what you're trying to be, let's say. So, and you're going to eat 1,200 calories because you're on the small side. And 130 pounds times 0.75 is 98. So there's your number. That's your protein number. Your daily budget of protein is 98. Okay, 98 grams. 98 grams. So we need to figure out how many calories that is because we have a 1,200 calorie budget. And you can't just convert calories into grams because they're different. The fat grams is different than the protein gram, the carb gram. So it don't get lost. So 1,200 calories minus 98 grams of protein. So protein and carbs is 4 calories per gram. So we're going to multiply that 98 times 4. All right, so 98 times 4 is 392. Now let's just round that to 390. So your 390 calories a day go to protein. Now, I really want you counting in grams because everything's labeled in grams. So you're going to use 98 as your budget for protein for the day. So divide that by 1 meal, 3 meals, 2 meals, 5 meals, however many meals you're going to eat, you got 98 grams of protein. So now we need to figure out how many grams of fat and carbs you're supposed to have. Again, I believe that unlike many people who recommend like a 60% of your calories from protein and 40% from fat or from carbs or vice versa, I just don't think in weight loss that's really what we're trying to do. I think you should set a maximum amount of grams of carbs. Okay? I think it should be somewhere between around 50. Any more than 50 and you start dancing with the devil a little bit. You can take, some people can certainly take in way more grams of carbs than that because that's not very many grams of carbs. It's not. So I will be endorsing a low carb lifestyle for weight loss and long-term weight success. So I'm going to say 50. All right, 50 grams of carbs. How many calories is that? Protein and carbs are times 4. So that's 200 calories of sugar. That is almost none, right? But it's important for weight loss. We need to get the weight off. Like that gentleman on the Lone Show, how many carbs did he eat? None, and his body weight, whew. So we're trying to get our bodies to come down. Now, if you're going to be doing a lot of working out, let's say you really amp up your workout schedule, you're going to need some pre-workout carbs. So that's where a good pre-workout comes in. But that's a different conversation. We're just talking weight loss. Don't get lost in the details. You want 98 grams of protein and you want 50 grams of carbs. So that's 390 calories roughly for the protein. And it's going to be 250 times 4, 200 calories for carbs, right? So now you have 590 calories of your 1,200 calorie budget spoken for. So what's the rest? Healthy fat. We want healthy fat as a good part of our diet. Why? Fat is fuel. Okay? Fat is fuel. That's what your body runs on. What is the stored fat in your body? That is fuel stores. That's stored food. So now we're going to calculate the fat macro. Okay, so we've taken our 1,200 calorie budget. We've subtracted 390 calories for protein. We subtracted 200 calories for carbohydrates. And again, there's a lot of argument about how many carbohydrates you're allowed to have, and particularly what kind of carbohydrates. If you're going to eat carbohydrates, they need to be whole food, above the ground vegetable-based carbohydrates. That's it, whole foods, which means they haven't been powdered or put into mixes. They're not processed like flour and sugar powders. Whole vegetable product. We want carbohydrates coming from plants. Okay, so where are we at? 1,200 minus 390 minus 200. Now we're down to 810 calories. Excuse me, 610 calories. 610 calories for fat. Well, fat is a is a dense form of stored fuel. It's got almost twice or more than twice the calories per gram than protein and carbs do. Why? Because it's a storage molecule. You want to make that efficient. You want to compress it. So fats have 9 calories in every gram. 9 calories in every gram. So you don't get as many grams of fat to get the same number of calories. So if you divide that, you have a remainder of 610 calories out of your 1200 after you did the math above. So divide 610 by 9. Divide 610 by 9. And that gives you 67, if I did my math right, 67 grams of fat per day. So now you have your number. All right, you have 98, that's your macro protein. You have 50, that's your macro carb. And you have 67, that's your macro fat. So that's how you do the math, okay? Your calorie goal for the day, your protein goal for the day, which is, in my opinion, your perfect, ideal weight that you choose, times 0.75, that's the low end, or 1 if you want to be serious about it. You want to get more calories from protein, or 1, so that's fine. 0.75 to 1 is the range. That gives you your calories, or that gives you your grams for protein. Multiply it times 4, that gives you your calories. Subtract that from your 1200 budget. Now you need to figure out how many grams of carbs and fat you have. In my opinion, you need to limit your carbs. And I would tell you that roughly you should be at 50. Now, some people can fudge that up a little bit and go to 65 or 75 and still lose weight. Okay, fine with me. I would tell you, you want to be more successful, let's keep it closer to that 50 number, which is very restrictive. I agree, it's very restrictive. There's your 200 calories, subtract that from your total, and I think that 50 stays in place no matter what, if you're in the 1200 or the 1500, whatever group you're in. And then the remainder will be in fat. So take the number of calories left out of the budget, divide it by 9, because there's 9 calories per gram of fat, and that gives you your fat number. You use those 3 numbers to build your daily meals, all right? So in this example, 98, 50, and 67, those are your 3 macros. When you start looking at foods, give every food all 3 numbers. So if you're looking at chicken, it'll have everything but a carb number, right? It'll have a fat number and a protein number. And you figure out your serving size, and you subtract that from your daily budget. What you'll find quickly is that either you'll get too much fat and have to eat nothing but fatless protein, or you'll get too much protein and have to eat more fat. Okay, great. But you got to get good at this. You're going to get good at this. The leaner the meat, the more fat you're going to have to add to it. That's where your butter and avocados and olives come in. The fatter the meat, the more sparse you'll have to be on the fat on the other side. The less stuff you'll get to eat with it. I don't care. You need to do the math. You need to budget this. This is like balancing a checkbook. And you have pennies and quarters and dollars, right? And so you're going to figure out how many pennies you spent, how many quarters you spent, how many dollars you spent, and at the end of the day, you need to be at zeros all across the board. I spent all my protein, I spent all my fat, and I spent all my carbs. My personal opinion is the number one thing to focus on as you're getting started is your protein number. So hit your protein number. And again, that's going to be your exact grams of protein times your weight. And then you fudge it down a little bit times 0.75 times that total number. And there's your number. That's what I want you focused on until you get good at protein. Because protein is what makes you lean. All right, so I'm imagining that I lost you, or I didn't lose you, I bored you. I bored you into, oh goodness. But this is an important part of weight loss, and it's the least fun part, but it's at the same time, it's the most powerful part. It's the most important part. It's the part that will breed success. And more importantly, it's kind of like everyone wants to know how to do something, but they don't want to learn how to do it. Everyone wants to, imagine if you went to a baseball game and you didn't know any of the rules, but you didn't take the time to learn them. Wouldn't be near as fun. Or let's say you wanted to make a quilt, right? But you didn't want to learn how to push a needle through it, put the thread in the needle, or doing that kind of stuff. You just wanted to know how. Come on now. Weight loss requires a little bit of focus and attention, and it requires a little bit of effort. Come on, it's not that hard. In the real world, in the grand scheme of things, you eat about 5 meats. How hard is it to learn how much meat you eat and how many grams of protein are in that? You can learn one thing a day, and in 5 days, you've mastered your entire life of counting protein, right? You've mastered it. And the best thing to do is get some help, right? There are some wonderful apps. MyFitnessPal, My Macros. You can just Google or go to the app store on whichever phone system you have and type in macro counting or macro app. And you put your numbers in there. You tell it, I'm eating this and this and this. Don't let it calculate them for you, because I just showed you how. It will not give you the right number. You'll get way too many sugars for weight loss. And so once you get good at it though, you can take over the reins and adjust them yourself. But for now, I want you to focus on what I said. So you put your numbers in there and it'll budget you during the day. You put in there what you just ate and it'll put those numbers against your macros and tell you what you did right or wrong. And you're going to fail. You're going to mess up. You're going to mess up your macros. You're going to fall short on the protein. You're going to go way over on the fat. You're going to go crazy on the carbs. Okay, great. That's the whole point of monitoring it, because you can track what you're doing and you can make corrections as you move forward. Moving forward is the goal here. We're not trying to be perfect. Don't get all upset if you're not perfect. Learn. And the next thing you know, you're doing it automatically. Once you've made a meal that fits your macros perfectly, repeat. And so that's the whole goal of this, is learning. It's going to take a couple weeks for you to figure it all out. It's going to take a couple weeks for you to figure it all out. Take the time to learn it, just like any new skill, okay? This is lesson 101, and we're trying to learn it. So don't get discouraged, stay focused. You'll be successful even if you're just doing this, even if you're just paying attention and writing down everything you eat. Because guess what? When you have to write down what you eat, you'll eat better. Trust me, you don't want to have to write down everything you actually were going to eat. Write down what you are eating and you'll behave better because you have accountability already to yourself. You don't want to admit what you're doing. So keep your food diary, count your macros, and let's get this squared away. All right, real quick. The video I didn't want to make, it's longer than I wanted it to be, but I think it's so important. In fact, you may have to watch it a few times, get out a piece of paper and really go through the math yourself, figure out what you're trying to do, and then really start looking at the foods. I would like you to help me. This is video 3 in this weight loss series. It's very important. It's the most important, yet the most boring, just like everything else in life. Like this video, please. Share it with friends, share it with family who are interested, would care. I don't know how to do this without calling people for what they're doing. So we're going to continue on this path. If you're watching this and you're focused on yourself, that's all I care about. You're going to get better. You're going to get well. You're going to get in the right direction. It works. It works. Everyone in this office has changed. So we look at pictures of them when we opened, and the people that are in those pictures are not the same people that are here now. None of us even look the same. Anyway, you can have a community benefit. You can help people around you. Subscribe. Really enjoy watching this channel grow. Obviously, I think it's going places. I'm going to have a whole bunch more videos coming on basic things that we do in the clinic, things that we need more information on, and they want more time to explain. So I hope you have a great day. God bless. Dr. Davis, East Texas. Thank you.